Greetings and God bless. Welcome to another episode of Pastor Mike, Dynamic Voices for a Diverse Church, powered by The Witness, a Black Christian collective. I'm your host, G. Tyler Burns. You can follow me on Instagram at G. Tyler Burns. Please follow at your own risk. And joining me, as always, is the founder of The Witness. He has a very extensive bio. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the multi-time best-selling author, Mr. Blue Check Verified himself. Follow his writings at jemartisby.substack.com. What's going on, brother?
It is always a blessing to be in the house of the newly anointed Bishop G. Tyler Burns.
We can't play around this episode. We got some serious stuff to talk about. We can't play around. So we are here today, and Jemar, we've been doing this podcast for somewhere in the vicinity, off and on, of 12 years, basically.
Yeah.
And I say off and on because I wasn't here at the very, very beginning of the podcast.
It's on. Yeah.
I was doing some test runs, as you know, if you've seen the 10-year retrospective or heard the 10-year retrospective. And so we're coming at our 12-year mark, 13-year mark, whichever you want to count, to make some big announcements. And so we want to let you all know, as our audience, if you're listening or you're watching on YouTube, that Pastor Mike is going through some massive, exciting, but also bittersweet changes.
Definitely.
And so Pastor Mike as you know it, and Pastor Mike as we have done it for so long with Dr. Jemar Tisby and myself, is coming to a close. And I know that's going to be like, oh my goodness, I never expected you all to go anywhere. But let me encourage you that we are evolving. We are evolving as a podcast, that I will be doing a project that will continue on the Spirit and the Heart of Pastor Mike. Jemar will be continuing the Spirit and the Heart of Pastor Mike in everything that he does, and will be back on the podcast in different, unique, creative ways. But he will be continuing to do the incredible work that he has done on our Substack, and also through his podcast, Footnotes. So, okay, we want to tell you that's what it is. All right, there's more to say about that. But take a deep breath, and we're here, bro.
Absolutely. We've been talking in the past several episodes about moving differently. And we felt for a while now that this is a season where we needed to move differently. Part of what that's meant is making the very difficult decision that passed the mic in terms of a season. And as you said, the way it's been formulated over the past decade plus, that's coming to an end.
Yeah.
Every end is a new beginning.
Yes.
And I think actually what this podcast has done in knitting us together as brothers, in the conversations that we've had, in the listeners and our supporters, for us individually and together, what it's done is prepared us for the next season.
Yes.
To launch into whatever God has for us coming, which we don't know the whole plan. We are responding and adapting in real time. But one of the things that needed to happen was for this format to shift and change to allow room and growth for whatever's next.
On the 10-year retrospective, you obviously heard from myself and Jemar, but you also heard from our executive producer, Beau, who has been at the center of everything that we do since before the podcast began.
Longest serving team member here.
It is absolutely impossible to imagine that we would have been able to accomplish a fraction of what we have without Beau and without his investment. He is literally right now still doing audio production in the room right next to us. We can see him.
Are those tears? Are those thug tears coming down? Okay.
And Beau has been essential. Yes, you've seen us being two people who have co-hosted the podcast, but Beau has been essential and consistent throughout all the changes and obstacles, and we could not have done this without him. And so I mentioned Beau to bring in what is going to be maybe a question that people would have or speculate on, because this may be jarring or shocking for people. Beau, Jemar, and I are great.
Yes, come on.
We are not. There's no beef. There's no, this is a split. There's no, they got into a spat. I mean, Jemar and I have talked very openly about tensions that we've had in our friendship as we've had to navigate this podcast and navigating what does it look like for us to keep being on mic and being brothers who were navigating our own relational life differences and frustrated with one another or trying to figure out where do we stand. But I will honestly say that from my perspective, and you can speak to this, Jemar, Beau and Jemar are two of my closest friends. This conversation was not made in conflict. It was not made after an argument or a blow up. It was actually made incredibly sober-mindedly when we could see how we could move forward and do the podcast for another 10 years or 5 years. But we made it with prudence and wisdom, recognizing that the time that we live in requires something different. So I don't want anybody to think, oh no, they're going to unfollow each other and we're never going to see them again and we're not going to see them together. No, Beau and Jemar will be my brothers for life. And that won't change regardless of if we're on a podcast or whatever we're doing. We'll always be together in some way.
Y'all, this is how you want transitions to happen. Not in a place of panic or fear or scarcity, but in a place of health and growth and circumspection. And that's how I feel this came about. It wasn't because of some particular crisis, internally or externally.
Not at all.
And it was a mutual conversation and coming together, and then an ongoing conversation about what it would look like going forward and how to make the transition well. So I'm extremely pleased. I think we're blessed, honestly, when you look at other shows, other podcasts, the way those kind of disintegrated.
Oh yeah, very popular examples of tension. But I take it back to Beau has kind of been the person that has sparked so many conversations with us internally as three people, with us navigating what it looks like to be on the same page. But I also attribute it to the fact that, you know, Jemar, you were willing to enter into a conversation that, you know, we talk about our 10-year retrospective, that you and I took a few months and really had to dig deep into our friendship and into heart, into life, and into figuring out, like, can we still do this well? And can we do this in a way that, you know, doesn't allow the work to create a rift or a divide between us as brothers and friends, and to recognize holding on the preservation of community. And so I actually, we've done some hard work.
Yeah, I mean, we straight up, we had therapy together. We
literally,
had a mediator.
Friend therapy.
Yeah,
like, I mean, we had to mediate. We had to have a mediator to like parse through conversations and what does it look like. Yeah.
And even that wasn't like a hostile, oh, we can't talk unless there's somebody. It's more like, all right, there's some tension, there's some shifts and changes here. How do we work through this in a healthy, productive way? Yeah. And I think that was extremely valuable for us to be men of integrity, to where we saying mental health is so important, therapy is so important, all of these things. We want to model healthy Black male friendship, all of those things. And it was part of that process that I mean, just think about how much changes in 10, 12, 13 years, right? Like
massively different.
I mean,
I got married, had kids.
Exactly. We're transitioning from one decade of life to the next. We've seen the world and our nation in particular dramatically shift in that time. And we could take a perspective, or people listening could take a perspective of, I'm so sad it's coming to an end. I wish it would go longer, all of those things. Another perspective is, how amazing is it? We were able to go for this long. This many episodes. I don't even know how many episodes. I mean, this many episodes, this many downloads, this many audience members, this much interaction. That's a remarkable
consistency
run.
Across different formats. Yeah. And one of the things that the mediator told us is, she said, Ken, you actually have to start dreaming and seeing yourselves doing work together outside of Pass the Mic. And I think that was maybe the seed of, even though it was years ago, the seed of us saying, well, I've never really even considered that. Like, what's the next project that y'all can work on that's not Pass the Mic? And we're like, oh, we could do that together. We could work on any number of things together.
It's like Key and Peele.
Yeah.
Like, they had a great run with their sketch
You're
show.
always going to do something comedy
related.
Always
going to bring it back to comedy. And, you know, it could have gone on. And the fans, we would have loved to see them continue on in that format and as that pair. But they've been able to multiply and extend their artistic and creative impact when they ended the show, which was bittersweet. Yeah. But also now we get Out. Now we get Jordan Peele in a bunch of different movie projects. And so I suspect the same will be for us, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, I also want to establish, as we talked about changes and transitions, that we have primarily been a podcast.
Yeah.
So we have primarily been audio, and we needed to transition and move to video. And I will never forget receiving a random DM from a young man who said, "Hey, saw y'all were looking to get into some video stuff." I had to accept this. It was one of my requests. Okay, that's how he was not on my radar at all. He was like, "Hey, so saw y'all were doing some sort of video stuff. If y'all need some help, just holler at me."
And that's exactly the voice and the cadence.
Yeah, he's
that
like,
came
"If y'all
through.
need some help, let me know. I would love to be able to help. Love the podcast. Podcast really helped me during the pandemic. And I've learned so much. I've grown so much." And so Ryan Gentry went from being someone who was a listener and a supporter from afar to literally being in the room with us
Part
in
of the
every
team.
episode, part of the team.
Shout out to the kid.
We can,
We got
That's hilarious. Look,
Gen Z.
we
in the house.
cannot. You don't see the setup, but we could not have accomplished any of this. It was literally impossible for us to think about how we were going to do all of this. And Ryan has made it as seamless and as smooth to where every time we come together for a recording retreat, we don't even worry about it.
Oh, man.
And beyond just simply that, I do want to acknowledge, I'll say a little bit more about Beau near the end, but I do want to acknowledge that Ryan is brilliant. And his thoughts and his contributions to this process and him helping us think through topics and what really is going to resonate with people who are listening and watching is invaluable to us. So thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. What I love
for
about
your
Ryan, he's got a tender heart.
Yeah.
In the best way. He has a conscience that is not seared, as the Bible has said. He's got a conscience that is sensitive. And it actually takes me, this crotchety old grizzled, I've been in this war for a long time, and reminds me of the human element.
Yeah.
And reminds me of the tender core of what we do, which is to shepherd and to serve people and to make sure people feel well in as many ways that we can on a mic, right? So I really appreciate that he brings humor. He brings life, fresh perspective, and he was able to. I mean, Beau, you and I have been together for a while. It's hard to bring in a new character.
It's easy.
Think of your favorite TV show, and they try to add a character in a particular scene. Like, who is this Joker?
Yeah. Who's light skinned Aunt Viv? You know what I'm saying?
Woo! Ouch!
Look, man, like you know what I'm saying? Who's light skinned Aunt? No, literally,
This was different.
it moved in and it was smooth and clear, and I've never felt more relaxed and at peace.
Yeah, it could have been jarring going
it could have
to
been jarring.
video.
It could have been tense, but Ryan has made it an
He
amazing
could have messed
process.
up the flow. He added to it. So
He
shout
did,
out to
man.
our boy Ryan.
Shout out to
Gentry.
Ryan, man. I think the question that other people might be asking now, you know, when we talk about, you know, what's going to happen, we'll get to that. How are we going to preserve the past? We'll get to that. But I think some people are asking the question, why now? Why in this regime? Why in this moment? We need Pastor Mike to continue on. Some of you might even be panicking or having an emotional reaction.
Anxious.
We hold total space for that because we recognize that in a time like this, such a time as this, you need encouragement. For such a time as this, you need hope.
Voices you know, voices you trust.
Voices you trust. Some people we've heard and have reached out to us and have told us that, hey, this is like our church. Like we set time aside to talk about the episodes and to wrestle with what's being said and to have group chats and family meetings about what's going on, which still blows my mind. But at the same time, why now? And I think that's a legitimate question to ask.
There is a particular reason, I think, why now, but now comes on the heels of years of shift and change.
Yes.
A lot of it, for me, has to do with our political situation. I am not being alarmist or exaggerating when I say this is a pull out all the stops moment. Even when we look back at something as monumental and pivotal as the civil rights movement, everything the activists appealed to is being stripped away. Whether it was court cases and rulings, the judgment of justices and judges, particular laws, the decency of people to look on injustice and be horrified, we can't even count on those things anymore. We are literally in a constitutional crisis. And yes, now it's coming to the fore and we're seeing the full force of it in this political regime, but it's also been a 10-year unfolding. ever since the current president announced, but even precursors to that, the way folks responded to the killing of Trayvon Martin, the way folks responded to the first black president.
Yeah.
We've talked ad infinitum about those issues on here. And I'm just sensing in my spirit, I mean, the literal thing that was going on with me was going back to, you've been discipling me into Pentecostalism for these years now. Going back to the Spirit leading and speaking
pushy, right?
me.
Like, I think I've been kind of invitational,
It was pushy at the beginning. Now
come
it's
and
like,
see,
you've seen me take steps. But, 1 Corinthians 12, like, we've all been given these spiritual gifts. And in the midst of, the sky is falling kind of a thing, being reflective and saying, well, what am I called to do in this moment? What are my spiritual gifts given for the common good? And so for me, that's been like, okay, I need to immerse myself in authoritarianism studies, fascism studies, try to bring that knowledge and information that I have as a researcher and a scholar to the church.
Yeah.
And that necessitates moving a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, that's part of it, in addition to, just different job, career, vocational opportunities and things like that.
I'm glad that you started individually, because I say for me, there's been a stirring to expand beyond and experiment with different formats of encouraging the church in this particular moment. And specifically, I've always been passionate about, but haven't necessarily had the opportunity yet to explore what it means to be a dedicated storyteller within the context of the Black Christian experience. If people ask me, what do you desire to be? What do you hope to be? I've always wanted and hoped to be one of this generation's, because I don't think any one person can embody that legacy, but I wanted to be one of this generation's, Dr. Howard Thurman's, like the people who were patiently walking with others through what does it look like to interpret this particular moment, but to tell the story of the movement of God with mystery and winsome delivery and nuance and enjoyment, and to draw out the lesser known stories and to draw out the mysticism that is within this particular walk and journey. And I would love to do that. I feel like I do that naturally as a pastor. I feel like I lean towards that. I'm gravitating towards that. And I also feel like what we need now in this moment is different forms of storytelling, different forms of inviting people on ramps and bridges onto this journey as we try to figure out what does it look like to pursue shalom in an unjust and unethical world, right? And so for me, I've been stirring to kind of, and frankly, I mean, I don't mean this in the way it may sound to some people, but I kind of want to start something that's mine,
Absolutely. I totally get that.
I really want to start something that's mine. I think I have always talked about this concept of wearing other people's armor and having to adopt and fit in a mold that wasn't necessarily made for me. And I have my own testimony, own history with God, own experiences, my own intersections with different parts of the faith and other people's lives. And I actually want to bring that to bear for this particular moment. I want to make gumbo in a way I haven't been able to make, and maybe in a way that would be freeing, experimenting with different formats. I'm best on the move. I'm best, kind of being agile and nimble. And so it was a moment where actually it wasn't necessarily my idea, like, oh, let's end it. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I actually see that it perfectly intersects with what the Spirit of God is stirring in my heart and where I'm feeling led by the nudge of the Spirit, And I also think, if we talk about why now together collectively, people are not listening to podcasts as much. And that's not to say that, because people aren't listening to podcasts, you should stop podcasting. But we want to go where the people are. And we want to go where they're listening and what they're consuming and on the mediums and the platforms. And I think for you, even thinking about curriculum, even thinking about, Roadmap to Ruin, even thinking about Substack, even thinking about all those things, me foraying a little bit into TikTok, like trying to figure out, let me see, like, what does this look like? What does it look like for me to have a YouTube channel that extends some of these stories? What does it look like for me to bring back, most people don't know, but I used to do a TV show when I was much younger. What does it look like to bring back the TV elements? And and do it in a different way that's just more than just dialogical conversation, but really is dynamic. And I think both of us are experimenting with different forms of media. And so it's less of an ending and more of an evolution.
Yes.
It's more of us now saying, well, how do we move differently? And always will be supportive of one another, show up for one another, be on each other's podcasts, outlets, encourage one another, share what we do, but also now do something a little different than what we've done before.
I mean, less of an ending, more of an ellipsis, less of an ending, more of an evolution or an expansion.
Yeah.
A multiplication of effort. So you'll still see us doing stuff with the same DNA, I think, that we brought here, because I'm going to take a piece of you. I mean, you've shaped who I am today. And I imagine even just by spending as much time as we have together, I've shaped you in some ways.
1,000%.
So that ethos is going to be wherever we go. And I like to think that we'll be the aroma of Christ in whatever we go and however we show up there. So it's certainly not to say that, we're going to be off air.
Right. No.
That's not it at all.
It just looks different. I mean, even this right here, like us being able to record together, like we've, over the past few years, have been able to put out an unprecedented number of episodes from what we expected we would be able to put out at this stage of our lives, simply because we have recording retreats. And Beau and Ryan are incredible at setting this up and making sure that we're set and prepared and encouraged and still have energy to be able to get through. We'll typically record, 12 episodes in 2 days or something of that nature. And so you can only imagine at a certain point, words start slurring together and everything. And so we're trying to cover as many topics as possible. And God is providential. We meet up at the time when something happens, it seems, and we can do some fun things together. But also we recognize that that's, even that format and that way, it doesn't always give us the agility to respond to certain things in the moment.
In real time.
And sometimes we felt like, oh no, we got to wait 4 weeks to be able to respond to this. And with our schedules and the asynchronous nature of them and how much travel we do and leading a church and with families and everything, it's really hard for us to get on the same.
Life be life.
Life be life. And it's hard for us to get on the same to where we could actually give it something that's really excellent, that's up to the quality of all the other episodes. Yeah. And so that's just difficult sometimes.
And we didn't want to have it end with a fizzle.
Yeah. We want to end on our own terms.
Absolutely. We didn't want it to be like, y'all should have called it about 2 years ago, kind of
Jordan
thing.
on the Wizards, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had a couple of good games, but also So Vince Carter, I got one more in me. No, you don't. Like, that needs to be
The Office
it.
after Steve Carell left.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we wanted to do it on our own terms. We're definitely seeing it as an evolution and an expansion. And, in this moment, I'm getting nostalgic and just thinking about what we've been able to accomplish together by God's grace. I think most importantly, this is all in the sort of orbit of the witness and PTM and our friendship. We found fellowship and brotherly love in a way that, for me, sustained me through a lot of stuff like Black Lives Matter and the first, horrible presidency that we went through, and now the second one, and a feeling of, it sustained me through feeling betrayed by the church circles that I was in. And when I was in a wilderness wandering, which I still am to an extent, this has been my church. This has been the family. This has been the people of God, right? And then along the way, we modeled that for other people so that other people who couldn't necessarily be in the same physical room with us still also had that feeling of fellowship and solidarity, and I'm not alone. And that has numerical implications in terms of literally millions of downloads, right? People listening across the years. But just to be able to say, there is another narrative. There is another witness to what it means to be Black and Christian today, and invite others in a way that we hope and wish many others do, but have failed to do so. And although this particular season is coming to an end, I'm truly filled with gratitude. This was improbable from a conversation in a van on the way from Minneapolis back down to Jackson, Mississippi after a very disturbing Christian conference to where we are now.
Yeah.
It's just such a God thing.
I think also, the question that could arise is, okay, you keep talking about all you've been able to accomplish. So how do we preserve it? Right? We talk about all these episodes and all this work and how much we've invested. And so before we get into some final reflections of, as we announce the end of the season, it won't be the last episode, which we'll get to in a minute. But, I know that for many people, they're like, oh my goodness, I want to be able to access these episodes and wrestle with these themes and concepts. And we actually like that. We actually believe that some of the things that we've said, not all, but some of the things we said won't make sense now, but will later. Some of the things we've said will continue to be evergreen and applicable in whatever situation people find themselves in. We also recognize that some people just want to constantly be able to receive and go back to encouraging moments and statements and times. And we love that. So YouTube, thanks to the incredible efforts of Ryan and Beau, YouTube, we will actually be releasing steadily the old archival episodes of Pass the Mic. And they will be remastered archival episodes of Pass the Mic. So you'll actually be able to, once the podcast ends officially, be able to come back to YouTube and get one episode from the archives every single week. So you can log into YouTube and we won't have, you'll have the graphic, but we'll have the audio of the episode and you can listen to it. And for some of you, this will be like a blast from the past. For some of you, like, whoa, who are these guys? Because they've changed so much, but we'll be releasing these, which is amazing to consider. And if you support us via Patreon, we actually want to invite you to continue doing that. And the reason is, even at a small amount, you'll receive all of the archival episodes immediately. Like, you'll receive everything. You can access them, go back and listen to them. But also, it'll preserve the hosting. It'll preserve us being able to continue to remaster and produce and put these episodes up at a steady clip. So that's going to be amazing. And also, I have to shout out Beau and Jemar. They didn't have to, but they decided to allow me, in their graciousness, to continue on in the same feed, So if you have subscribed to PTM on a podcast feed, we'll be able to continue when the new show comes, which will be very soon. Soon after, I'll leave a little bit of space so we can at least grieve, so we won't just jar you into something else. But there will be this tremendous opportunity to hear those episodes and also see some of them on the same feeds, which is incredibly gracious.
So I just want to pause and make sure people heard that and can sit with that you will be continuing
yes,
to podcast on this feed.
I will
New
be
show.
Continuing. It'll be a different format, different style, and we will have Jemar back on.
From time to time, because he doesn't want.
I just want to set the expectations.
Okay. It's fine
because once he starts working for the United Nations or whatever, I don't know.
Once Tyler gets his own thing going, he's not gonna need me. But I'm gonna stand at the door, be like, "Yo, invite me in."
We need his perspective. We want to pub what he does, and he'll always be a part of what we do. It just won't be every single week. So we just want to set your expectations for the shift and the change there.
I feel like we should still do like a cultural artifacts episode.
We're going to do cultural artifacts. Yes. We have established that we will do cultural artifacts annually. That's not going anywhere. Some of you only listen to that episode, and you know what? I'm not offended by that.
That's right.
Those are always my favorite episodes too. So I get it. But some people have mentioned that. So yes, we'll still be doing that. I will still be continuing for now the work at The Witness and continuing to partner there and continuing to push us forward, Black Christian thought. But bro, so some reflections here. Man, I want to thank you as a co-host for journeying with me. And I know I did not come from the same exact experience that y'all did when we started this thing. From day one, y'all welcomed me, affirmed so many gifts that I didn't realize I had, I didn't think I had, gave me tremendous opportunity, exhibited massive trust, not just in podcasts, but in life. And you mentioned earlier, I'm sure I probably, maybe because I spent so much time, influenced you. You have been one of the greatest influences of my life. And I doubt I would have had the courage And I doubt I would have had the boldness and the fortitude and the endurance to continue in anything that I do if you weren't present in my life. And I see what people on camera, on mic do not. And I see how much you've had to navigate and deal with how many changes the world will never know. You've had to figure out how to still show up and be a healthy, whole human being, a healthy, whole, free Black man in the face of so much difficulty and obstacle. And I'm inspired by you, and I love you, and I can't wait to see what's next for you and all the ways in which God is going to expand and amplify the brilliance that he's given to you. And I cannot imagine having gone on this journey with anyone else. I don't even want to think about it, but I just want to thank you. And thank you for letting me be a part of this with you. And thank you for trusting me enough to be a co-host and to build this with me and to be patient with me and to pray for me and to challenge me and to help me be a better man so I can show up better for my family and the world. So thank you.
That's beautiful. I receive it, brother. And iron sharpens iron. I know what that Bible verse means because we've been on the mic for 10 plus years together. I have been not only shaped but sharpened by you. Your cogent analysis, your deep thinking, your faithfulness to the flock is so refreshing among a generation, it feels like, of pastors who are more interested in building a platform than pouring into people, like a real pastor. The way you've shepherded this show, I mean, people know me as the founder of The Witness, and maybe I was one of the first co-hosts, but you really took the reins on Pass the Mic in so many ways. And I think what people love about the show is due to your voice, your guidance, your vision, your direction. And so one of the biggest feelings I have right now is anticipation for what you're going to do next, because I feel as if this has been a great partnership, but also it's time for you to set your own pace in this race and your own direction. And I know you're eager to do that too. You're full of ideas. And I am very sad that this season in its current form is ending, but also very much looking forward with anticipation for the ways God is going to continue to use you. And, you know, we're freeing up this time for you to be creative and to go forward. I also want to shout out Beau.
Bro.
So you'll say your piece. My piece is Beau has been the rock. He's been there since Jackson, Mississippi. We could not have technically even launched the show without Beau, but he came on as so much more than a technical producer. He came on as a person of faith,
Yes,
as a brother, and as honestly, truly, I think one of the pioneers of the podcast space. He knew what this was and could be long before anybody else, certainly long before even I understood the potential of it. And when we talk about how messy relationships can be, Beau is one of those people who's in it through the mess. Mm-hmm. And in that way, he's been so inspiring to me because I'm quick to be like, all right, I'm done with y'all. Like, this is too much.
Man.
Even if it ain't quote unquote wrong, it's just like a lot of emotion and sticky conversations that we got to get through. And Beau is always pulling me back in to that hard but necessary conversation. And so I'll always be indebted to you. You still helping me with footnotes. I've got him on an invisible contract for the foreseeable future. So I do hope we continue to collaborate together in those public-facing ways. But you'll always be one of my very best friends. You have helped me and shaped me in ways that me as a person who lives with words can't even put into words. So I thank you, brother, and I love you.
Yeah, bro. Oh, man, I ditto everything Jemar has said, but beyond that, man, you've just been a faithful brother and friend, and you have supported and just randomly at some points sent me a text message and encouraged me and let me know you were praying for me, just to even be thought of. And we were talking yesterday just about how hard it is to find real friends in person, and one thing I can say about Beau is it doesn't matter how long it's been or in what, setting or scenario, he's just been consistent. And you've been an incredible example of what it means to remain in someone's life without agenda, to remain in someone's life without looking to gain something from them, but always looking to enhance them in whatever way that you can. How can I support what you're doing? How can I show up for you? How can I give you encouragement? How can I give you wisdom and advice? And I have not always been able to show up. I remember some distinct moments where I've shown up as the worst version of myself, or I've been in a moment where I've been so overwhelmed or frustrated or fatigued, and Beau was just really patient. And there were moments where I was angry and Beau was really patient. And there have been moments where I was really discouraged and Beau's been very patient. And so, perhaps one of the more consistent friends I've ever had. And so I just honor you, and you have been faithful to be behind the mic. And, the whole trope of being the man in the chair, but the truth of the matter is you've been steady, and without you and the foundation that you brought, we wouldn't be able to do what we've done. So thank you. And I can't wait to see what y'all don't know, but he's doing this immersive theater thing in Houston that y'all got to check out. And we're going to pub and put in the show notes and all the above, because if you're in the Houston area, you got to check out what Beau is doing and support what he's doing, because the stuff he's talking about,
truly one of the most creative minds.
It blows my mind. Pirates. I didn't think it was possible. I'm not going to scoop him and get in front of it, but it's really amazing. So please, when we put it in the show notes, please follow it. And we love you, and we can't wait to support you in your next, man.
And I'm just so glad a DEI hire finally worked out. Our token white guy, he really showed up.
I guess there's only one. You crazy for that. I guess there's only one more group to thank, and that's our audience.
Yeah, the listeners.
Specifically, I want to start by thanking our Patreon subscribers, those who have given part of your income and who have invested in this show and seen the vision of it and been patient with us through lots of changes and adjustments. And even Patreon itself has changed. So many different things. Thank you all so much for being consistent. Thank you all. Your effort and your encouragement and your investment has not been in vain. And even at the conference or anywhere, I just hear so many stories. The audience is what keeps us going. I hear so many stories that honestly, I don't really know how to respond to, because people say, oh, I literally held on to faith.
Yeah.
Because y'all kept talking on the mic. I gave Jesus another chance. I tried church again. I didn't quit. I kept going. And to hear you all draw strength from our two regular stories and experiences, which are only extraordinary because God has been with us.
That's right.
And we've had for many a year a beat up laptop and old mics,
a janky setup. Yes.
And we've had cords running all in our rooms and not been able to show you the video and stuff in the background, and you've remained consistent. And so thank you for trusting us. Thank you for supporting us. I hope that in wherever we go and whatever we do, you will continue to journey with us and interact with us so that we can journey together as we figure out how do we show up as the best version of our Black Christian selves in a world that seeks to attack and harm us. And so thank you, no matter who you are, no matter what age and stage you are, no matter where you live, if that's in these United States, yet to be United States, or elsewhere, overseas and abroad, thank you.
There is no Pass the Mic without you all. our listeners, our viewers. Some of you have rocked with us since the very beginning when we didn't even know what this was. Some of you have come on in times of national crisis, and you found this show to be helpful. One of the voices that you let into your walks, you're doing the dishes, you're getting ready for school or work in the morning. And no matter how you found your way to us, you're an answer to prayer. You're an answer to prayer that God would do something with this show and our voices. And so we do thank our Patreon subscribers, because I know how hard it is to click through and add your email and your credit card information and
That's
actually
a choice.
financially support. You don't just stumble into that.
Yeah,
You got to
that's a choice.
choose it. So that's enables us to come together in person and have these recording retreats, have excellent videographers and editors and things of that nature to make this show look and sound as great as it is. But for anybody who's tuned in, we do it for you. There have been times when we're tired, when we're busy, when we wanted to do anything but hop on the mic, not because we didn't enjoy it, but because life be life.
Life.
And because of you, we did it.
Yes.
So it's been a labor of love. It's been a holy and a sacred burden. We thank you for all the stories that you've shared with us. We thank you for the DMs. We thank you for the daps when we've been able to see you in person, the embraces. And there's a sense in which this can continue to have an impact. So like Tyler said, you can continue to tune in to episodes. You can also share these episodes. If it helped you, it could probably help someone else. And so feel free to continue to share this. And we do hope to hear from you for sure. We're here recording and in a room together, but we also recognize that this is a collective communal thing. So we're passing the mic to you just to give your thoughts and
What did you just say?
Wait a minute. What did you say? That's the show. Pass the mic. It's been such an honor. It's been such an honor. I will forever look at this podcast as one of my proudest endeavors that I've been able to be involved in. It's always going to be on the resume. And if people ask, well, what's that? Well, how long you got? Because I'm going to tell you. So thank you so much.
So, Jemar, just to clarify for everyone, this is not the final episode. We'll have a couple of more episodes that will come out. I think like 8 or 10 more episodes that are going to come out. We'll see. But we're going to stagger them a little bit. So we're going to spread this out. So we may take a week break in between. We're not gone yet. You will know because we will have a live show to close everything out that you can tune in, and I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to do something fun, get together and do a live tune-in show that you can on YouTube Live, and you'll be able to tune in and listen and watch, and we'll thank a lot of people, maybe have some special guests, and close this thing out right. And so, again, if you desire to reach out to us, if you have any questions, any encouragements, or if you have a testimonial, a selfie video, anything, the email address that we'd love for you to reach out to is show@passthemicpodcast.com. That's show@passthemicpodcast.com. And we would love to hear from you and love to keep you abreast of everything that's happening in our world as well. As always, you can follow us on our Instagrams, G. Tyler Burns, at Jemar Tisby. And you can also follow Jemar at his Substack, jemartisby.substack.com. Bro, there's no better way to end, I don't think, than with your favorite scripture. And that's Joshua 1:9.
Yeah.
It says, have not I commanded you, be strong and of a good courage. Be strong and very courageous. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with you wherever you go.
And we'll see you soon
On the next.
Pass the mic.